This is the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
We could save a lot of money and a lot of grief by making smarter choices. It starts by ending destructive habits and beginning healthy habits in eating and exercise.
Sarah Palin has always pushed for common sense, smart choices, not only on political issues, but when it comes to physical fitness. Today, we're joined by Molly Shattuck, a former NFL cheerleader who has a brand new book on tips for getting fit. Remembering Chris Kyle, a shout out to the Seahawks. Happy birthday, Ronald Reagan. Go, 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 Sar. And prayers for Noel Shepard. Also, a brand new Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson is on the way, and just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. First, she is a former NFL cheerleader and a healthy living expert who emphasizes a back-to-basics yet unique approach to wellness in her brand new book, Vibrant Living. Now we bring in Molly Shattuck to the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. Molly, welcome.
It's great to be here.
Your new book is called Vibrant Living, and it's billed as a book that can help readers transform their bodies and lives. Now, that's a big claim. What do you offer in the book to help people?
Well, my Vibrant Living philosophy is all about deliberately changing your health habits by thoughtfully modifying your behavior. And it's truly done by setting goals and making better, daily decisions related to them. It's those tiny little voices we all hear that end up mattering a lot when it comes to your health. So it's really creating a better foundation for health that will enable you to live the life you want.
And it's a 21-day action plan. That's not too long of a period of time, so that may appeal to a wide base of people.
That's correct. It's a 21-day action plan to align your body and your spirit with the dreams you really have for your life. So in 3 weeks, you can drop pounds, you'll feel better, you have more energy, your skin will start to glow, and you'll begin to really have a glimpse to a different future for yourself because you're healthier. So, I think about right now, it's the Winter Olympics. We're all into it, or many of us are into it, and so the Olympics last about 2 weeks. And so just for 1 week longer, just 21 days that I recommend you commit yourself to health, you can be a reflection of the choices you make, just like these athletes do. I was looking during the opening ceremonies, and they look so healthy. Their skin looks good. Their hair is shiny. They're healthy. And, their dreams are a result of intentional decisions they make every day, week after week, year after year. And so that may be an extreme sort of look at this, but if you think of just your health, if you start making these tiny decisions when it comes to my 4 pillars, which is drinking water, eating real food, exercising daily for 30 minutes, and living for others, you really can change your life.
Now, a little background on you, Molly, for our listeners. You were an NFL cheerleader, and you had the distinction of being the oldest cheerleader in the league when the Baltimore Ravens chose you to be on their team. Tell us about what you took from that experience and how it's helped you.
When I was 38 years old when I started cheering for the Baltimore Ravens. I had a 2, 4, and 6-year-old at the time, Spencer, White, and Lillian. And, there was, I realized that age is just a number. One of my closest friends, Alyssa, who was actually just retired, she's been the captain for the last several years. We met. She was the first person I met, and she's 20 years younger than I am. And when I tried out, I didn't realize that I was older. I seriously had no idea. And there's a spirit in people, and there is, as we age, it's more and more important to focus on our health, to focus on being more conscientious about what we put in our mouths, and choosing water over other beverages, and choosing to move our bodies. It really significantly makes a difference.
Now, the accolades have come pouring in your way, and these honors really give you clout because they show that others trust you as a reliable and a trusted source when it comes to health issues. And there are too many to list, really, but just to name a couple, you were named American Diabetes Association's Healthy Living Ambassador in 2013 and also appointed Healthy Food Ambassador for United Way of Central Maryland's Access to Healthy Food Initiative. You really like to give back and help others.
I do. I'm also the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women Mission and Engagement Chair, and I've been doing a lot of work this past week because it's Heart Month. And I'm so humbled and proud to be aligned with these organizations. And my approach and my philosophy is a very back to basics approach to leading a healthy life. Based on very simple facts. And you have to move your body, and you have to be more aware of eating real food, more vegetables, more fruit, and less processed packaged food, and making water your beverage of choice, and simply helping other people, because those 4 pillars that I stand by really do create the virtuous circle for providing terrific energy and physical ability to do anything you want in life. So I'm so proud to be aligned with these organizations.
Well, we certainly need people talking about women's heart care, because I think people are shocked to find out that heart disease in women in the United States, I mean, that's above cancer in some cases, right?
It is. Actually, it takes the lives of more women than any other disease, including all cancers combined. So 1 in 3 women will die of heart disease. Every single minute a woman dies of heart disease. And the interesting fact is that 80% of the cases are preventable if you lead a healthier lifestyle. If you get to your doctor once a year, have your cholesterol and your blood pressure checked. If you eat more real food, as I preach, more vegetables, more fruit, less processed packaged, and staying away from salt. If you move your body for 30 minutes a day, if you stop smoking, and the American Heart Association has now added water to the list, which I'm so thrilled about since I've been preaching it for so many years, making water your beverage of choice. The most heart attacks happen between 6 a.m. and 12 noon, and so cardiologists are recommending that you drink 2 cups of water as soon as you wake up in the morning, which is what I suggest. I actually suggest 30 ounces of water as soon as you wake up within the first 30 or 40 minutes of being awake, and then drinking throughout the day, and then more in the evening. So this is something that we can prevent, and we can spread the word, and we can join hands and say you're not alone, and if you think you're alone in this, you aren't. So it's our responsibility as women, as moms, as friends, to spread the word that heart disease is preventable if we take a proactive state when it comes to our health, and then spreading the message about how we can help one another.
Sarah Palin is an avid runner. She also practices yoga. I would imagine you approve of the governor's regimen and her dedication to exercise.
I absolutely do. I admire what she does, and when she came on the public circuit, I'll say it's the public circuit. I really admire her, because she's a woman who is dedicated to her family. She's dedicated herself to really helping fellow Americans, and doing whatever she can in her power to be a role model, and to lead by example. And that's what I've tried to do in my life and with my kids, and to others in our community. And so I say big cheers and high kicks to Sarah Palin.
You mentioned you have 3 children, and when you were cheering, they were much younger. Sarah Palin, 5 kids, of course, and I have 2 little ones of my own. What about that? I mean, I think you and the governor are great examples of, hey, look, you got a lot on your plate, but you could still get this, as you say, moving your body around in there. What about people who just feel, look, I'm too busy, I got to get to school, I got to get to athletic events, and I have to get to work. How the heck am I going to have time for this?
We're all in that same situation. I know Sarah's in the same situation as I am, and so many Americans and so many people across the world. We're juggling so many responsibilities, and what I say is this: you schedule exercise just like you do any other meeting, any other commitment, any other carpool. And if you don't have a 30-minute clip to do it, you schedule 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at noon, and 10 minutes in the evening. It's just as effective for your body. When it comes to eating, Winston Churchill once said, failing to plan is planning to fail, and we really need to do that when it comes to eating. We can save ourselves a lot of money by planning our meals, doing more cooking at home, really simple. In my book, Vibrant Living, I provide recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, appetizers, desserts, snacks. And when you plan it, you can save a lot of money. You are in control of how much fat, how much sodium, how many calories you're eating when you're cooking it yourself and preparing it yourself. So I say plan, and really, it doesn't take a lot more time than thinking about what am I going to get from this takeout menu, and what do we even get from fast food by me driving there and driving back. You have the ability, if you plan, to stock the refrigerator and make it easier to eat healthier and more difficult to eat the junk.
Well, it sounds like something anybody could do if they really put their mind to it. Molly, how can listeners get their hands on your new book and learn more about what you're doing?
Well, come to mollyshattuck.com. You can buy the book there. You can also buy it on Amazon or HiltonPublishing.com. It's a little less expensive on mollyshattuck.com. We also have recipes and tips for drinking water, eating real food, exercising. I have a knockout move of the week, ideas for living for others, and so many easy ways to help your community. So visit us at mollyshattuck.com. The name of the book is Vibrant Living, and I invite you to come and take the challenge, as so many people have across America and actually throughout the world.
Great. Molly Shattuck, a pleasure having you here, former Ravens cheerleader and author of the brand new book, Vibrant Living. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Again, be sure to visit mollyshattuck.com. That's Molly, SHATTUCK.com, and you can learn more there and also purchase Vibrant Living from the site. As a Seattle Seahawks fan, Governor Palin was about as pumped up as anyone last week, but she also put things in perspective. Palin remembered the great Chris Kyle, asking Super Bowl watchers to have fun, but to also remember him and lift one for the fallen hero. Super Bowl Sunday marked 1 year since Kyle's death. After the Seahawks rolled Denver in Super Bowl 48, Sarah Palin posted congratulations to the team and their fans. She also praised Fox Sports for their coverage of the game and for the halftime show honoring our troops. Palin wished a happy birthday to Ronald Reagan this past week, and she posted online a great video of the One Nation tour stop at President Reagan's hometown in Dixon, Illinois. Governor Palin always calls out those in office who are hurting Americans, but she makes sure to recognize those who are doing their job as well. This past week, she applauded Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona. Palin calls Gosar a principled conservative who stayed true to the Tea Party ideals that sent him to Congress in 2010. And Palin is asking for prayers for Noel Shepard. The associate editor at Newsbusters has cancer. We're certainly praying for Noel here at SarahNet Radio. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page and follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA.
It's time for Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson and Kevin Scholla.
Hey, Susan, how are you?
Kevin, I'm doing great. Nice to be here.
Great to have you again. What's going on?
Well, we've had a few things going on here in Virginia, but one subject that I'm interested in, I think that every American can relate to at least wondering or thinking about this once or twice. If you follow the money, what kind of influence does that have on our lawmakers? And one article caught my attention, and that was the company called Redflex, which they're known for their red light cameras that they have throughout the nation. As it turns out, one of the fired executives acknowledged in a counter lawsuit that their company has bribed officials in 13 states, and one of those states happens to be my home state of Virginia, and we just happened to have a bill that was killed in the House of Delegates in one of the committees that would have banned the red lights. So it does make you wonder and think, what kind of influence does money have on our lawmakers, and what kind of ethics and laws do you have in place in each of the states? I know that in Virginia there needs to be more transparency. Obviously, we've had some struggles with ethics, and I'm hoping that Virginia is going to make some changes where it's a little more transparent.
Well, these cameras are popping up in a lot of places, too. New Jersey, Pennsylvania, different counties usually, or towns within different counties. And it also speaks to privacy issues and, issues of liberty. And like you said, I guess those take a back seat when money's in the forefront.
Well, and you can extrapolate it, or you at least have to be aware when you're looking at an issue that we've spoken about before, but you're looking at immigration and this push by the House Republicans now that they want to reform it, even though it's on the bottom of the list of any poll, of any American that's asked what is their top concern. It's not the illegal immigration issue, but big business is very interested in seeing some really quick and major changes to our immigration laws. And then you look right here in Virginia and across the nation on Medicaid expansion. What kind of influence are the hospital associations having on the legislators as they make decisions on whether or not to expand Medicaid? And we're seeing Republican governors roll one by one on Medicaid expansion, and it's quite obvious, and it's nothing new, but money does have influence. What kind of laws do we have in place to help with the transparency and the ethics in the reporting?
You look at some of these politicians, you want to contrast them with Governor Palin, those who want to say she quit as governor of Alaska when really she did something that very few would do. She left before her term was over because of all those frivolous lawsuits that all turned out to be bogus against her, and also just the attacks that were being leveled, and knowing that no one was going to work with her, she said, I'm going to do what's best for the state and for these people that I'm serving instead of myself. Here you're talking about just a complete contrast to that. Whatever happened to public servants are supposed to go in and do what's best for the people. Instead, it looks like, okay, I'll do what's best as long as, there's big bills to be won.
Well, it's funny here in Virginia, we have a mantra that's coming out from some of our legislators that this is the Virginia way. My question is, can someone please crack that code for me? What does that mean, the Virginia way? And if you do look at Sarah Palin, how did she come into office? Because she took on the good old boys, she took on the corruption, and she cleaned things up. But that's not really the kind of person that a lot of these elected leaders want to have in office, because it's a wink-wink, let's just do things the way they've always been done. Eventually it's going to have to get to the point, and I do believe that that's part of what the struggle is right now in politics. The point where Americans are saying, you know what, enough is enough. Who is going to represent our interests?
You got to watch out when you start hearing phrases like the Virginia way. We all know what it means when people say Chicago politics or Chicago politicians. It sounds eerily similar.
It certainly does, and it's not to say that every donation leads to a decision that has been bought, because certainly that's not the case. I just think that elected officials need to be very aware of decisions that they're making, whether it's the campaign contributions they're accepting, to the transparency or lack thereof that they're using. Government is about, or a good governing process is about trust, and right now there is just a lack of it that the American people have in their elected leaders.
All right, Susan, we'll talk next week.
Thank you.
Susan Stimson in Virginia. More Commonwealth Common Sense next week. Now our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. For those of you who like to be entertained with the politically inane, take some time to read the transcript from the February 5th briefing by Jason Furman, chairman of the President's Council of Economic Advisors. He was the lucky guy to respond to the CBO report that estimated a loss of 2.5 million full-time jobs over the next 10 years due to Obamacare. Here's just a taste of what you will find. A reporter says, so it's a good thing that they now have health care. Maybe they didn't before. But isn't that man or woman going from 60 or 65 hours to 30? They're making less money, right? Mr. Furman responds, I'm saying if the main thing going on here was a change in labor demand, and labor demand, just to be clear, that is the decision that employers are making. So employers are cutting jobs because of the Affordable Care Act. That would be a bad thing, because that means somebody who really wanted a job wouldn't be able to get one. You might see the unemployment rate go up as a result of that, for example. But CBO explicitly says that you're not going to see an increase in the unemployment rate, that when you see changes, it will be that person who maybe didn't want to work those hours. They still have the option to. They still can, but in that case, maybe they'll decide they don't need to anymore. And that, in their case, might be a better choice and a better option than what they had before. So the reporter says, sure. Then they make that choice and they go from 60 to 30 to 35 hours. Presumably that family is going to have a lot less take-home pay, and they're going to have less money to put back into the economy. Mr. Furman replies, but we just described that example. First of all, it's a hypothetical example. And the question, well, it was your hypothetical. And Mr. Furman says, right, it is my hypothetical. That is completely fair. Again, it's a choice they're making. So for those of you who are losing your job because of Obamacare, it's your choice. This is the elite Eastern establishment Harvard professor at work. Does anyone need further evidence as to why our country is in such an economic mess? This is Sarah Steelman for SarahNet Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Commonwealth Common Sense and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to SarahNetRadio.net, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. Visit SarahNetRadio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also follow along on Twitter at SarahNet Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Susan B. Stimson, and at Sarah_Steelman. For a full recap of everything you hear on the Palin Update, plus more news regarding Governor Palin, head to our Facebook page and like SarahNet Radio. Also, like Kevin Scholla on Facebook. Palin Patriots is our feature on SarahNet.net. There you can check out the writings from our great panel of contributors, including Martha Zoller, Bader Carmut, and Dan Bongino. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Susan Stimson, and everyone here at SarahNet Radio. Thanks to Molly Shattuck, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.